Guys, welcome everyone. This is going to be, we picked the name Going All In with Beastyqt the Cutie, okay? This is going to be the first podcast. I'm not sure how long this is going to go. I have no idea about the length of the podcast. I'm not sure how many I'll do. This is something I'm testing. I want to see how it works out, if people like it, and if people like it, well, we're going to be doing more. The original plan, the plan for right now is to do these once a week. I'm still not set on dates. I will probably be uploading them on Wednesday, well, except this first one because it's a test trial. And yeah, we'll be doing them once a week, and what the podcast will be covering, because there's a lot of confusion when I initially asked the community what I think about it. This will not be me checking out replays. This will not be me talking about what you can do better in game. This is going to be me talking about recent results in tournaments. That's something that's going to happen probably every podcast, like as a little intro to get us started. Then we're gonna move into whatever news happened that week for StarCraft II. This guy said that, a little bit of drama, and also viewer suggested topics that you can suggest on my Discord server. So I already took some suggestions. Some of the topics I picked myself. So the things that we're going to be talking about today. WCS qualifiers just ended. We're going to be discussing that. We're going to watch a video with that one. We will be discussing the WCS groups for Challenger that are out. We're going to be discussing Pure Legacy getting disqualified for WCS because he's a hacker. Then we're going to be moving into Code S. Following it up, we'll be talking about, is Protoss too strong? There's been a lot of talk that Protoss is broken, so I'll give you guys my opinion on that. We're going to talk about match fixing that, allegedly happened, or some people think it did. Then we're going to talk about canceled FPS in StarCraft II. That was supposed to happen, but it didn't, again. And then yada yada, there's 3 more topics that are user submitted, but you guys get the point. I quickly run down, through the topics of the day, and then you and I, live on Twitch, will be discussing these. And if you're watching this later on YouTube, you'll be able to see the Twitch chat as well. Okay, potatoes in the chat, say something. 1, 2, 3. Okay, there we go. Twitch chat works now. Now, again, this is just the first one, the first podcast, so it's going to be not very produced. This is not supposed to be the best podcast, overly produced. This is supposed to be me and you guys talking about things and kind of discussing things. So let's get started. So like I said, the first topic we will be discussing is the... now the chat will be hard to see, by the way, on white backgrounds, which something in the future we might fix, like put some kind of background so it's clear at all times. But the first thing we're going to be discussing is the qualifiers. So WCS Open qualifiers ended. Upset, Beastyqt did not qualify this time. Sad times. Now we already had, let me look at the overview. So we already had a lot of people qualifying through ladder and invites. So the 4 invites, Showtime, Thermally, Laser, and Cyril, which, they're pretty good. Then you have top 4 from Grandmaster, aka ladder qualifier, a bunch of Zergs and Terrans, as you can see, pretty much like the top Terrans and top Zergs qualifying through there, and then Showtime, the only one for Protoss. And then you had a lot of Protosses qualify through the actual qualifiers, where there were brackets that you had to play through. So there was, a lot of Zergs, a lot of Terrans, a lot of Protoss. Hero Marine kind of stomping through the bracket. Hellraiser, Gung Fu, DNS, again, a lot of, Gung Fu and DNS qualifying through the lower bracket. Harstem lost 2-1 in this one, and then in the last round, and then in the next qualifier he also lost in the last round, so you gotta feel bad. Hellraiser, but just in general, a lot of Protosses are doing well right now. If you check the second qualifier, I mean, we had pretty much the same thing. Mana qualifying with beating Drogo. Bly qualified. and then Strange and Petit Drogo. And this is something that's been happening in GSL and now in WCS. Like, a lot of Protosses are doing well, which we're going to talk about later on. Oh, I should probably do this. You know, professional now. So then we had the NA one. Now, the NA scene, as you guys know, I don't know too much about, so... You know, I know like top players like Neeb, Massa, Jon Snow, TLO invited. Top 4 GM, Future, Vindicta, Silky, and Scarlet, and then qualified. I mean, a lot of these people I don't know, so obviously I know Semper. But yeah, on NA actually a lot of Terrans qualified, especially through the open qualifiers where you can play and, you know, get into it. So the WCS qualifiers are done. Again, in NA, Terrans are doing well, but, you know. And then in Europe, a bunch of Protosses and Zergs falling left and right. Now, we're gonna move into the next thing, which is the Challenger for EU and NA Season 2 groups. Now, let's discuss who's going to be advancing in my opinion and in your guys' opinion. Yeah, this chat is not going to work out. I need to find something like a background over there for the chat. But so the groups are out, and also the top comment on Reddit, Cyril, my favorite Dutch player, because they put him as Netherlands flag apparently. So I'm going to quickly run through these, and I want to hear your guys' opinion as well. Who do you think is going to win? Wait, can we make this? Can we do it like this? Oh wow, look at that, fixed. Now the dark mode or whatever it's called, it doesn't work on every website, but hey, it works in Reddit pretty well. So, North America, I'm gonna pick the winners that I think are gonna advance. NA is gonna be hit or miss. I think I'll probably have a little bit more input on EU, but EU groups are stacked. Like, they are very, very stacked. But NA, it's kind of like, you know, your favorites are going to be advancing, and then whoever else advances kind of thing, because they're going to get stomped by the favorites anyway. While Europe, I think, has so many good players, and I feel like a lot of these players can just advance through their groups and beat the other players. So the first group, I'm going to go with... I don't see, the thing is, I've seen Rob's name before, and I've seen Cuddlebear's name before, but I don't know how high in GM they are compared to TLO. So I'm going to say Massa goes through first. I know he's not like super duper active, but he does, he always does well in tournaments, and you know, he's Massa. So pretty sure he's going to go first, and then second, I don't know. Some people are saying TLO because he's like, you know, a lot of people's obvious pick. Some people are saying Rob might beat TLO. I don't know. For me, that's just like whoever advances out of those three. I don't know. Second group, Sotorks. Now that's a name I've never seen in my life, and I've also heard NA players say they've never seen him. So yeah, we don't really have any info as far as that goes. But considering Astrea did pretty well last time, I'm pretty sure he's going to be advancing in Jon Snow. I think those are the obvious picks. Drunken Boy's been in the scene for a while, but I think these two are probably higher rated than he is. Next one, Silky and Neeb. Now, didn't Silky beat Neeb in like previous WCS or something like that? And then we have Crucial Nug. I mean, no idea who that is, but hey. I've played against Vindicta, but I'm pretty sure that this is going to be a Neeb Silky advancing, and I think Neeb's going to go first. He lost to Silky before, but I don't... Neeb is the kind of guy that he's going to lose to like cheeky stuff once, but he's going to fix it for next time, so pretty sure he's going to go first. Now, the next one, Scarlet Puck Future Semper. Now, this is probably the death group of NA, because it has... like all the good players. Semper has not been playing full time. I know he's been studying. I think he's going to law school, or maybe he just finished, something like that. But Semper has a lot of tournament experience. So I think that Semper, even without practice, has a chance to advance. And I think Semper has a good win record against Puck. Now this is just on top of my head. I might be wrong on this. Scarlet should be the obvious one to advance. But I actually wouldn't put it past Semper to advance in this one. I honestly wouldn't. I do think that Puck, Future, or Semper can all advance as second, but I'm a root for my boy Semper. I know Semper for many, many years now. He's super nice. So that's the one I'm going to cheer for. But yeah, that's pretty much the NA groups. Again, the groups are pretty weak, let's be honest. Like, if you put their group of death versus any of these groups, they would get absolutely smashed. I mean, Scarlet would, you know, win and lose. But the other three, I think, are not up to the level of these other guys. Now, Europe. We actually had a lot of players that were, like, pro players for many years that didn't qualify, and one of them was Harston. He fell down both qualifiers in the last qualifying match, which, again, sometimes it just happens. What are you going to do? So, Europe. Elaser, Euthermal, DNS, and Bly. Oof. What do you guys think? Now, I can be a little bit more specific here in who's going to advance. I think that Elaser had a really good... Whenever the year was at BlizzCon, 2016? I think he had a really good group, or really good year, and then he kind of fell off for like a year or two. We didn't hear much from him, but from the recent games that I've seen, I feel like Elaser's back. So I'm actually going to pick Elaser... Oof. Oof, that's hard. I'm gonna pick Elaser to go first and Euthermal second. Like, DNS is very good and he improved a lot, but I mean, Euthermal and Elaser I feel like are on another level of these two. And I actually think there's a chance that Bly ends up third if he cheeses out DNS, but yeah, like, I don't see Bly beating Elaser in CVZ, and I think Euthermal's played Bly so many times at this point that there's no way he's gonna lose to him in a tournament. So yeah, I'm gonna go Elaser, Euthermal, but I think these two are very, very close. It can go either way, but I think Elaser will go first. Group B. Hero Marine, Showtime, Marine Lord, and Mana. Now this one's hard. This one is really hard. Mana actually in the qualifiers, in the first qualifier, lost to 2 Terrans, and one of them was Cass. And I love Cass, but I don't think Cass is on the level of Hero Marine and Marine Lord. So if you lose to Cass, then you're probably gonna have a rough time against these two. Marine Lord right now in EU is like 6.9k. He's actually improved a buttload. So I don't think Mana will be advancing here. I think PvP Showtime is way too solid. And Mana always plays cheeky. Not necessarily all in, but he always plays cheeky. Like, you'll rarely see Mana like go for super standard build. Like, he's gonna expand, but he's gonna do his spin-off of the expand build. And I think also Hero Marine is really solid in PvP. Marine Lord plays very aggressive, but I still don't see him losing to Mana. But we'll see. I think Marine Lord doesn't like PvT. Mana, you know, is not too great at PvP at this point. But these three, who advances first and second, I honestly have no idea. I'm not sure how Hero Marine and Marine Lord compare against one another in TVT. So to me, this is going to be really hard, but I would say all three of them have good chance of advancing. I think it's going to come down to like a little bit of luck, like if any of them are doing like, you know, risky openings, if it pays off or not, and how well they play on that day. But I think this group is going to be close, because Mana can definitely beat these guys, don't get me wrong. And if he does, that just makes this group even harder to predict. Just say group of death. Oh yeah, it is group of death. I didn't even look at the other groups. Yeah, I would say, well, I don't know if it's group over there. Group C is also really hard. I think it's just hard to predict this group, what it comes down to. But yeah, I think all three of them have pretty good chance of advancing. Next group, Serral, number 1. I mean, is there even a discussion for that? Now, Strange, it's kind of like the similar situation. I don't think he's up to par. I think he's gotten really high on ladder, like 6.6k, maybe 6.5. But I just don't see him beating these guys. Like, Clem's actually had, in the last WCS, he had a really sick TVP against Showtime. It went 3-2, and he really pushed Showtime to the limit. And Showtime is probably the best Protoss in Europe. So if Clem almost beats Showtime, I don't think he's going to be losing to Strange. And then we have Lambo and Clem. Now, I honestly think that Clem's improved so much that he actually will beat Lambo. Like, I think Lambo is you know, he's a top Zerg, but in the recent times, Clem's improved so much. Like, his mechanics have improved so much. Like, actual insane amount. And it's TVZ, and that's what TVZ is about. It's about mechanics. It's not about, you know, your decision making or this or that. It's literally about mechanics. And I feel that Clem mechanically is just really, really solid right now. So I would actually pick him to advance second in this one. Yeah, I'm gonna go with second. Okay. Group D. Raynor, Petit Drogo, Hellraiser, Gung-Fu. Oh, this is... Okay, so this group was hard to pick who's gonna go first in general or second. This one is gonna be hard to pick who's gonna go through second. Now, how do the groups play? 1, 4, and 2, 3, right? I think that's how they do it. Like 1 versus 4, 2 versus 3. I think the obvious pick here is Raynor, and it's probably true. Like, Raynor is really, really good. I think he's probably... I mean, probably the favorite by far. Now, the question is... Like, I don't see Gung-Fu beating Raynor, right? Gung-Fu also, by the way, improved a lot, and he has his own style, which is very scary if you're playing against him, because like Protoss having weird styles is like much more impactful than Zergs or Terran having their own style, because they can just kill you straight away. Now, I actually do see Raynor losing to all three of these guys in a best of 3. And the reason is because of the PvZ meta right now that we're going to be discussing later. It's very volatile. There's a lot of all-ins. And Raynor is one of the Zergs that were also memeing about PvZ and the all-ins. So I can definitely see a Raynor losing to actually any of these guys, but should advance out of the group at least. If not first, should advance second. And then it's going to come down to who has the best PvP. And Petit Drogo had some games with Harstem in the qualifiers. I think he lost the first time and then he beat Harstem the second time. So he's obviously, you know, he's super high rated. And his PvZ is also really good. So I can also see Petit Drogo just beating Raynor straight up. But I would say Raynor and Petit Drogo will probably advance. But Hellraiser and Gung-Fu are also like very, very dangerous. So there can be some upsets in this group, I think. But again, we'll see. And yeah, you make a good point in season that Raynor played against Goblin and he defended the all-ins really well. But again, you know, Goblin's different type of player. Maybe he uses different kinds of all-ins. And I think like someone like Petit Drogo is much more solid than Goblin in like the longer games. So we'll see. But yeah, that's pretty much my prediction. It's like, it's kind of top heavy, you know, like as far as prediction goes, like Laser Thermal, this one, these guys, and then Serral, Clem, and then Raynor. But, you know, they are first seed, and there's a reason why they're first seed, and it's not because they're bad. But I think if I had to pick, like, players to watch out for in this tournament that you might not expect to do well, like, I'm not going to pick Serral. Like, obviously everyone expects Serral to win it. But I would say Marine Lord and Clem are the players that might have like really good performance. Not just in the groups, but in the actual whole tournament. So it's going to be exciting. Let's see the Reddit comments. Cyril, my favorite Dutch player. True. The talent disparity is absolutely ridiculous. Here are 16 EU players that didn't qualify. Harstem, Namshar. Oh yeah, Namshar didn't qualify. Sort of didn't qualify. Goblin, Gerald, Shadone. But Shadone dropped a lot, I think. Braddock, Zanster, Casts. Oh, Soul, Denver. I completely forgot. Nurchio, Ziggy, Guru. Okay. Wow. The guy didn't even put me there. Dude, I wreck half of these guys. Come on, bruh. Dissing me. Come on. But yeah, Harstem, I would say the big ones here are Harstem, Namshar, sort of. Goblin, Soul, Denver. I think those guys are probably better than the other ones. Maybe Zanster and Nurchio. Well, these other ones are kind of like a little lower as far as the level goes. Not by a lot, but a little. And, you know, some of these you would consider top tier, but again, you know, there's not enough space for all of them. Look at that. When you use the dark mode, it's like bugging out. Oh yeah, Nathanius makes a good point. Race distribution looks pretty good. Like, there's no group with a... Well, there's 3 Protoss here, but other than that, the race distribution is pretty good. We had one WCS where it was 3 out of 4 groups were like 3 mirrors, 3 same race in 3 groups. It was like Terran. Actually, one group had 4 Terrans, if I remember. One group had 4 Zerg, and one group had 3 Protoss, or something like that. It was so stupid, and it was just mirror matchups. But, there you go. Okay. Going from here, we're gonna check out this video. Moving from that, okay? Moving from that, let me get my camera and stuff out. So you guys are probably like, wait, what hacking? What's going on, Beastie? What's going on? Whose perspective? That perspective was from Future, the NA player. Now you might be like, what hacking? What? Well, there's been a hacker participating in WCSNA. So there we go. StarCraft Esports Twitter. One of our challenger players, Pure Legacy, has been disqualified from the event due to his account being banned during a hacks review of recent play. The last 2 players eliminated from qualifier qualifier 1, were Rob and Printf, who voluntarily dropped. Rob will receive the final challenger spot. So they say, to clarify, while no cheats were detected during the open qualifiers, a player whose account is no longer in good standing is ineligible to compete based on rule yada yada and WCS rules. So this is a spicy one, right? So let me see how this one works out. It's too bright. Oof. We'll use this even though it bugs out. So, yeah, people on the Reddit, if you don't want the dark cloud of being a cheater following you around and removing opportunities in your life, don't cheat in the first place. Really having a hard time finding sympathy here. I love how, and then people like, oh well, this guy's like, people make mistakes. Bigger issue for me is how much of a head he is. Now, the follow-up tweet comes from Pure Legacy himself, saying, look at this, he actually made a response. Yep, been doing my best to prove my innocence all day today, but here we are. Mind you, Blizzard has said, due to recent hacks in his play. So recent, I'm guessing, is up to 1 to 3 months. So I didn't read this, but he is probably going to say how he's hacked in a year or 5 years ago, but not anymore. Bullshit. He hacks. Maybe he didn't hack in qualifier, but he hacks, okay? On top of that, there's more juicy drama that I'll let you guys know about this guy. So, yeah. I'm going to say this just once, about 4 years ago, Kappa. I hacked in 2v2 games when I was young and didn't realize how much of a selfish and stupid decision it was, and the consequence of admitting to my actions change me for better. And I promised myself I'd never cheat again. Guys, did anyone cry to this? This is really emotional stuff. I mean, this guy is pouring his feelings out. Wow, that is so sad. I'm just craving more. Years went by, people still calling me a cheater to this day, and that's to be expected. Well, because you're still cheating. That's right. But I knew for myself I was never cheating in all this time. February 2019 rolls around and I decided to try hard in 1-on-1 to give myself a goal of getting into WCS Spring Challenger. I failed then, but I knew, well, because probably didn't have hacks on, I could do it if I kept myself focused, and that I did, and I ended up qualifying for this recent summer challenger. The best part about it, I knew I did it legitimately, and it was an indescribable feeling of accomplishment. Well, I'm sure that years of hacking have improved his gameplay and kind of lifted it to another level. At this point, he doesn't need like a production tab hack or like map hack. He just kind of knows because of all the practice he did. Let's see. I knew I was going to get backlash for a stupid decision I made a long time ago, but I was sure I would be safe because I never cheated in years. Can we? What did you say? You've never cheated in years? To clarify, while no cheats were detected in the open qualifier, a player was gonna... Oh, not that one. Sorry. One of our challenger players previously was disqualified from the event due to his account being banned during a hacked review of recent play. Is 4 years recent? No, it's not. Okay, it's not. Like Blizzard tweeted about it. Blizzard said he cheated recently and he hacked recently. And he's like selling a story like, ah, man, it was years ago, I was a kid. Bitch, please. Then I got the announcement that I was being disqualified and my Blizzard account was being banned and I was completely devastated. Man, poor you. I tried my best to persuade? I'm illiterate, sorry. Everyone in charge that I was innocent, but they wouldn't budge. Man, I wonder why. I will maintain my innocence forever in this situation, and no matter if you hate me or love me, I know I accomplished my goal of WCS Challenger, regardless if I'm competing or not. Good luck to everybody left. Thanks for reading. Again, I'm sorry. It just comes off. So anyway, let me tell you a little story, okay? This guy is a POS, okay? Do you guys remember the story of why I quit 2 versus 2? Do you guys remember that? Why I quit playing 2 versus 2? Because they were those racist people that kept stream sniping me, that have hacks, and that spammed the N-word when I played against them, and they would troll me by 3 of them queuing with me in the game, and the guy was like trolling and yada yada, you know? Do you know those people? Guess who plays with them all the time? That guy, right there. He's their friend. And he's been to my stream before saying that he stream sniped me or why are you mad and shit like that. This guy right here. So, a big F you, and I hope Blizzard never unbans you in your life. Because you deserve every moment of it. I remember playing against him and his friend, and I would go with a medevac on like a crevice where there's nothing. There's no watchtower, there's no vision, and you know what they did, both of them? They would scan on top of my medevac and then spam lol, like, haha, we have hack on, we see where your medevac is. And I checked the replay, there was no vision. And then every time I would go for a drop, they would scan on top of it. But by the way, he hasn't hacked in 4 years. Kappa HD. And you know what? I'm sure his excuse is going to be like, oh yeah, that wasn't me, that was my friend. You know, Was it your friend that was also a piece of shit that came to my stream, trolled me, and played with the people that are racist and spamming homophobic things? Was that not you as well? You're just friends with him. You're just best friends with him, right? Dude, I hope he gets banned forever, and I hope Blizzard never lifts his ban. That's all I have to say to that. Trash has been taken out. Well played, Blizzard. Well played. God, it feels good sometimes to get these people sorted out. To get the trash. You know, no one likes taking out the trash, but sometimes it just... You know when the bin is just full of trash, it just kind of like feels good to take it out. This is one of those moments, baby. This is one of those moments. Goodbye, and thank you for hacking. Now, I wanted to watch this. So this is Apatry Zelda, Sal's story. His name is Sal. Relating to stream sniping. I want to see what this is all about. I didn't watch this. Why can't I open this? Okay, let me see. Well, let me see what he says. I just saw this is related to Pure Legacy's thing. So I want to see what it's about. There we go, Fuser. The thing is, there's a huge difference between sniping and cheating that people don't get. I love to snipe Rotterdam. But when the match starts, I shut down his stream. Who cares? I just want to play against him. If you stream, you have to accept that people do this. That is true, except Pure Legacy would also watch your stream. So, yeah. Good riddance. Well played, Blizzard. And keep it that way. Now, let's move on to the next juicy thing. There's been... I mean, I touched upon this a little bit on my stream, so I'll quickly go through it. Basically, there was a WCS NA potential ladder race match fixing. Now, there's been a lot of discussion about this. Basically, the ladder qualifiers last couple of days. I can't remember exactly how many, 2 or 4. Doesn't matter. I think it's 4. Maybe it's, I don't know, whatever. But what ended up happening is this guy, Future, and Raze are friends, like they're good friends, apparently, and Future was already in the top 4 ladder to qualify for, you know, the ladder challenge to qualify into WCS, and Raze was trying to get into it. So on the first day from when the qualifier started, Raze played like 4 games, 3 games, with his off race, or Raze's main race versus Future's off race. And Future lost all 3 games and gave him a bunch of points. Now, this wouldn't be necessarily weird, except people have brought it to, you know, to the light that Future almost never off races, and it just happened so that he off raced 3 games in a row, and then he met his good friend 3 games in a row, and he was doing some weird builds. And I mean, I checked the match history, and there's like some screenshots here, and it was just weird builds of someone either throwing the games or just having zero clue how to play off races. And people, like, you know, people made a post that this is potential match fixing. Future, you know, and here we go. No, I'm not dumb enough to actually match fix. I just finished laddering for around 10-11 hours. Going from blah blah blah. I was still in StarCraft II state of mind, but I didn't want to ruin my actual MMR. I mean, this is a pretty yikes statement to give in the first place. But, you know, yeah. So basically the whole point was people was like, is this, you know, is he trying to give his friend the points and try to boost him and help him out? And my opinion on this is, I don't think so. Because, I mean, the thing is, you have to be really stupid to do it. Like, let's say you wanted to do it, right? Like, you have to be really stupid to do it from your main account, first of all, and give the wins to your friend. Because that's like, I mean, it's super obvious, especially with the drama that we've had in the past with the Chinese players doing it and yada yada. So you know there's eyes on this. So to actually go ahead and do it, like, you have to be really dumb. So I don't think they did it. I think it looks extremely suspicious. When I saw it the first time, I think I said I don't think they did it, but it looks extremely suspicious, right? And a lot of people have kind of vouched for them from the NA scene, like, no, they're not doing it. It's just a silly decision to do that, to play off races when the ladder challenge was going on. And I think they, well, not they, but Future messed up. And I don't think they actually wanted to do it, because they wanted to do it, they would actually, you know, go about it a different way. And because this is just like too freaking obvious, right? Now, but if you look at from another point of view, which is like very objectively, right? You have two good friends, and there's a ladder challenge, and the top 4 advance for qualifiers. One of them is qualified, the other one isn't, and then this one plays off races and just gives 3 wins to this guy in like, by the way, the games are like 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes, or something like that. They're super fast games. And it obviously looks extremely suspicious. Like, no one with a straight face looking objectively at this can be like, oh yeah, it's not suspicious at all. I just, you know, no. Especially because Future did not play any off races almost ever. But he just happened to play them during the ladder challenge and face raised 3 times in a row. So that's like a little yikes. But yeah, overall, I don't think they did it. I think Future, you know, had some comments like, you know, I don't think, like, I'm not stupid enough and stuff like that, where in fact he should have maybe, you know, had a different reaction. And I think since then he has kind of, you know, fixed that a little bit by saying that, you know, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Like, there's nothing wrong with playing the off race, but doing it on your main account where your MMR is high, and you knowing you suck with off race, and then giving whoever your ladder points is kind of messed up. He probably has 10 accounts. He could have played on another account that's lower MMR, but, you know. I think this, yeah, and the games were at 5 a.m., which again kind of reinforces the whole match fixing and like thing, right? So I think this is probably a lesson for him to learn, like, not necessarily don't play your off race during the WCS qualifiers, like ladder challenge part, but at least do it on some other account, or, you know, don't play at 5 a.m. when there's like 1 player queuing up, because it is kind of suspicious. Blizzard, I'm not sure if they've actually given the response, but, you know, nothing came out of it. They're not banned, so it was just like a little drama, and I wanted to kind of give my take on that. Now, the next thing, I think we have to turn off the dark mode. Ah, it's so bright. Okay, yeah, the dark mode does not work with Liquipedia. It kind of bugs quite a bit, as you can see, like this part. So we have to use this. Yeah, light. We're like vampires, and you won't be able to see the chat. Pippi hints. Anyway, GSL. So, spoilers, obviously, but, you know, by the time this is uploaded, or you guys on Twitch, I mean, what are you doing if you're not watching GSL? So, the playoffs have started, and as you can see, we have 5 Protoss in top 8. Again, in WCS EU, in the qualifiers, a lot of Protosses have qualified as well. A lot of Protosses have done really, really well. And we saw Classic versus Sue. I actually watched these games, and I watched Trap Innovation as well. Classic all in 4 games in a row, and the only game he lost is because he didn't do anything with his opening. He literally didn't do anything with his opening, and he just kind of attacked and died. Now, the games were pretty one-sided, I would say. He opened different ways, kind of did a little bit of harassment, and just did the 2-base Immortal, War Prism, whatever units all ends. And then we had Trap. I mean, the execution was really good, and he had some good mind games, but the question is Protoss too strong? And then Trap Innovation, I thought it was a good series, and if you're a Protoss player, I would say definitely check out this series, because Trap always had his own style, especially in PvT, And I've tried these builds that he did, and I have to say they were really, really interesting. So basically what he was doing is he was opening Blink, if I remember correctly. Not necessarily every game, but he was opening Blink, and then he would go into very, very fast Storm. So he would actually go Storm off of 2 base with 8 gates, and then a 3rd base, which is currently not the meta. The meta is like 3 gate Blink, Robo into 3rd, but he was taking to Storm plus 8 gates and then getting a 3rd. So some of the pushes that Innovation wanted to do just did not work out because, I mean, having 3-4 High Templars as the Terran is doing some kind of 2-base push with tanks, you will just get stumped as a Terran, especially because he had Charge as well, he had Blink. So some really interesting builds. I'm not sure if it's actually like his builds, but it was really interesting playstyle, and I think that's something that we're gonna see a lot more of in the future. But overall, the series was pretty good. It was much better series than this one. This one is kind of like Stomp with a bunch of all-ins. So yeah, definitely check it out. Now, this is something I wanted to talk about at the same time. Now let me go back to the screen so we don't have to get our eyes falling out from all the light. So the question is Protoss too strong? What do you guys think? What is your opinion? And I want to discuss why this is happening. You guys are saying no, 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 yes, yes. As a Zerg player, no. Okay, so this is what's happening in the current meta. I actually think that PvT is evolving right now. So you guys know I've always hated Protoss as a Terran, right? That was my most hated matchup as a Terran. I always thought TVP is BS because of how much AoE Protoss has, free 3rd base. I never liked the matchup, okay? Never liked the matchup. So this is coming from someone. I just kind of want to clear that, make sure you guys know my stance on it before. Never liked the matchup for the past 9 years, even when Terran was doing well. But I feel like this is the first time in many, many, many years, in a very long time, where TVP is evolving right now. Like, the game is evolving, the matchup is evolving, there's new builds, and that's super, super, super exciting for me. And I don't think people can call Protoss OP in PvT right now. If it was a month ago, I would say, yeah, PvT is very Protoss favorite. But right now, there's been a lot of things happening, and the meta is kind of evolving. So there's a lot of, I mean, this is something we've seen for a while, like Terran pushing, you know, with 2-base all-ins. But now there's like builds that are becoming more popular is pushing really fast, like doing like 2 Widow Mine drop, and then at the same time pushing with 2 tanks and Cloak Banshees and like bunkers off of 1-1-1. So no extra barracks, no nothing. And this is very scary to deal with Protoss, and if you kind of mistreat it for 1 second, you can just simply lose the game by Terran sieging up on your natural. Now that's one dangerous build that's been going on. Another thing, and I've talked about this before many times on the stream, mech has been really, really exciting in the recent times. And the reason for that is, boom. Mech has been really, really exciting because people are figuring out different ways to play, some Cyclone openers with the Cyclone upgrade. People are figuring out that you should be producing Marines more going into mech and not just give up on the Marines very early on, which helps you with a lot of all-ins. There's been mech playstyle that I personally love the most with Cloak Banshees against Protoss. So the point is you're trying to keep the Protoss on their side of the map from early to mid game so you can get your 5 factories up and start pumping out insane amounts of tanks and Widow Mines. And that kind of prevents Protoss from going across the map and just killing you with War Prism Charge because mech is very, very vulnerable to it. So there's been a lot of meta shifts, meta evolving, and then from Protoss point of view, you have stuff like Trap is doing. You know, some people are experimenting with max packs as well. It's kind of like a new threat. And then you have what Trap is doing, what I mentioned previously, and that's fast two base storm rushes that I think we're probably going to see more and more. So you guys know I play both Terran and Protoss. I play random. I think that Protoss, at least in PvT, I'm undecided on because it's evolving, it's shifting, and it's hard to kind of pinpoint. Because the games are constantly different. There's constantly like, you know, one game there's a proxy, the second game there's two-base storm, the third game there's mech, the fourth game there's a two-base all-in. So you can't really be like, aha, look, Protoss won 3-0 because there's 3 different games. And it's going to take a little bit of time for the playstyles and the meta to settle because right now it's changing quite a bit. Now, PvZ. Now, this has been the hot topic. The tears of Zergs pouring down. I mean, it's been crazy, right? So, why is suddenly, and I say suddenly because, you know, a month ago you didn't hear anything about this. Well, there's been a couple of different variations of the same Immortal all in. And that's why this has become so strong. So recently, a couple of months ago, we had Wargate also reduce the research time, which obviously helped with these all-ins. But the main fact is the 2-base Protoss all-ins are too strong against Zerg, and I absolutely agree with that. But with that being said, the reason why they're strong is before those same 2-base all-ins existed, but what ended up happening is there was only like 1 or 2 versions of it, right? And the harassment before that was pretty much the same. So it goes into like harassment and then 2-base all-in and that's it. Now what's changed since is there's different variations to harass the Zerg into 2-base all-in, and there's also different 2-base all-in in the first place. So for example, there's the Immortal Sentry all-in. There is the Immortal Zealot all-in with no sentries, with like 32 probes. There's the Immortal Sentry Adept all-in. There's the Archon Zealot Immortal all-in. So there's a lot of different ones, and from what I've heard at Zergs at high level, they require different things, because I'm not going to classify myself as top Zerg and, you know, give my opinion based off of that simply. But basically, they said that you need different approach for some of those all-ins, and because you can't really scout and you don't know what exactly is coming, that's what makes the matchup so hard to play, because if you know what exactly is coming, you can defend it. And also the variation of harassment, there's been oracles, there's been I've seen Classic, one of the games, do like 3 or 4 oracle build, which again, it's like it's an oracle, but it's 3-4 of them, and you can't really scout it, right? There's also the one variation that Classic did, which was with adepts. So what he did was he had like 2 adepts in a prism, and he would drop the adepts, shade into the mineral line, kill like 3-4 drones, and then pick it up with a prism. And it's just like another different harassment into an all-in to kind of worry about. So yeah, there's a lot of these different things, and then also, you know, when you play Zerg, if you make drones at the wrong time, you just kind of die. Like you're just dead. And because of these builds that Protoss has are so sharp and so precise and so fast, if you make a misstep, you're just dead. They're not impossible to defend. If you're prepared, you defend them, but they're very, very strong and hard to scout, which is the whole, you know, complaint from the Zerg players. Now, is Protoss too strong? In PvC, 2-base Protoss all-ins are too strong. But, now we go back to that, with that being said, why are Protosses all-inning this much? And why has the Protoss win rate skyrocketed? Well, the tilt of the Zergs is on the rise. So I think the Zergs themselves are kind of defeating because of all the, I can't beat the Protoss, what's the point of playing StarCraft? That affects your mentality a lot, and I know this. Whenever I would think the matchup is broken, I would significantly do worse in that matchup. Even though I wouldn't necessarily play worse mechanically, mentally, I was like, well, this is bullshit, right? I'm going to lose anyway. And then I play worse, and then whenever something bad happens, I'm like, there it is. I knew, like, you know. that's why I'm going to lose. And I think a lot of the Zergs have that mentality because they're tilted. But also, Protoss is all in this much because, and this is something that's not discussed enough, like this needs to be discussed more. And I mentioned this before, Blizzard's been contacting me for a month or two now to give them my opinion regarding balance changes. And they do this with a lot of people, and I can't say the exact thing they want to change because they brought up a good point because I asked, can I talk about this? They said don't mention the specifics because if you say we're going to change that and that doesn't end up happening, it's going to be like, oh, well, Blizzard said, which makes sense, right? So I can just say that Blizzard is aware of these things and they're trying to find ways to go about it. And some of the ways they're trying to go about it are something that I haven't even considered. They're testing and trying out a couple of different things to all of these problems and issues. I don't know when and what they're going to pick, but you know, it's my job when they ask me to give them opinion on each of the changes they want to do. If it's a good idea, if it's a bad idea, if I think it's going to change anything, and so on and so forth. So, the reason why Protoss is all in, again, going back to what I said, and that a lot of people don't talk about, is the Zerg Late-Game. Now, Zerg Late-Game, it has been a joke since Wings of Liberty. Joke as in OP. And this has been a big issue since Wings, but Protosses were able to destroy Zerg with carriers. But from the moment that carriers were nerfed, PvZ is god-awful for Protoss in the late game. It is god-awful. I also think that Zerg is favorable in ZVT late game, but it's winnable from Terran point of view. I feel that PvZ at super high level, it's almost impossible to win. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, it's not impossible. I've seen this guy do it. Again, I'm sure every once in a while Protoss is going to win, but it's extremely favored for these Zerg players. Why? Well, carriers are literal garbage. They don't do anything. Like, they just don't. The interceptors die, and then you can't remake them in time, and then you just lose the game. Tempests on paper sound really good, but they get yoinked by the Vipers, and like you shoot at the Broodlord, and then 5 Vipers come in and then yoink all your shit, and then you just treat it really poorly. And this is not like my opinion whining about Zerg. This, I'm telling you guys, this is a fact. This is why Protoss players play 2-base all-ins. This is why Protoss players don't go to the late game, because it's extremely hard to win in the late game. Not to mention the remax potential of Zerg. It's just the Broodlord Infestor is extremely hard to deal with, and on top of that you have insane capabilities of the Zerg to remax. So I already told this to Blizzard. I do think that Protoss 2 base against Zerg need to be nerfed, but if they do that, they need to nerf Zerg late game. Like, if they nerf Protoss 2 base all-ins, Protoss is literally not going to win against Zerg. It's going to have like 30% win rate, maybe 35, because that's how bad it is in the late game. And if they nerf 2 base, it's like, well, where do you go from there as Protoss? You can't play the late game. If they nerf 2 base, you can't all in, or it's not this good anymore. So what do you do? Like, what is your actual game plan? It's probably going to be like to hit just before Broodlord Infestor, but you're kind of, that doesn't matter because you're going towards the late game, and all the Zerg needs to do is survive, and they win the game in the long run. So this is something that, again, Blizzard is looking into. Don't know when the balance patch is going to be, but I can just say that they are working on it. And again, I can't say what exact things, but yeah, it's been looked into. Why not 3-base all-in? Because when you do a 3-base all-in, you give Zerg enough time to have Hydras and Bane speed. Your handsome face needs to be nerfed, you piece of yummy nerd pie. Alright. Alright. Dude, I'm basically married. Okay, calm down. calm down. Stop being thirsty. Anyway, so yeah, that's my opinion. I do think there's an issue in PvZ, but there's an issue on both sides, not just one side. Just because people in GSL or WCS see problem from one side, which is the Protoss 2 base all-ins, doesn't mean there's no problem from Zerg point of view, aka late game ZVP. So, next thing I wanted to discuss. Oh yeah, let's quickly go through these. I think Classic's gonna go to the finals in this one. I'm not sure. Okay, these are played in 4 days. So on the next podcast, we're gonna be discussing the results that happen here, and I'll quickly go through the games. Now, I think Classic is gonna win. Classic is a insanely good Protoss. He is the most underrated Protoss there is. He plays so well, and I feel like he's constantly underrated. I don't like that. It looks so ugly. So I do think Classic is going to go to the finals. Even though Trap is really good, I think Classic is just too solid. And he has that champion in him. Because he has been a champion before. But he has that killer instinct. And I feel like Trap is... I mean, you can kind of see it when he beat Innovation. He was like, oh my, like, yes, oh my god. Because you could see it was a big achievement for him, right? To go to round 4. And he was really happy about it. And that doesn't diminish his skill, but the farther you go into a tournament, there's more and more pressure on you. And that's one of the reasons why I think he's gonna in semifinals. Hurricane and Parting. This is going to be 2 guys butt naked wrestling in a mud. Just like 10 by 10 meters, just mud. This is going to be disgusting. I'm telling you now. This is going to be filled with cheese. There's going to be... there's going to be scratching. There's going to be hair pulling, donger pulling, throwing mud in each other's eyes. There's going to be cannon rushes. There's going to be proxies. There's going to be a disgusting one. I'm telling you. I do think Parting is going to advance because Parting is a cheesy boy. And I think Parting is probably the most build order oriented player in this top 8. So I do think he's going to advance. Hurricane is also one of those guys. He is good, but if I had to look at all these guys, he's just not there yet. I think Hurricane and Parting are not at the level of the other guys. But Parting has a lot of good builds and a lot of good all-ins. That's why I think Parting is going to win. I'm going to say Classic Trap. I'm going to say 3-0 for Classic. Hurricane Parting, I'm going to say 3-1 for Parting. And then Hero and Dark, the last non-Protoss in the tournament. So what do I think about this one? I think Hero at one point, well not at one point, for many years has been a god Protoss, right? He has been insanely good, but it's just fallen off. You know, he has his sharp timings, he has his own styles, but I do think Dark is just going to roll him pretty hard. I would say Dark is going to win 3-0 or 3-1. Difference between Dark and Sue. I mean, first thing, Dark and Sue are very similar as far as playstyles go, I would say. They're both dirty, they can both all in. Sue can mix in an all in. Sue's my favorite Zerg player, but Sue is like a player that mentally I feel like is weaker than Dark, and Dark is the kind of player that's like, oh, 2 base Protoss all-ins are broken? Well, I'll just do Proxy Hatch, and then a Bailing Bust, and then a Roach Ling all-in. And I feel like that's how he's going to play the series against Hero. I don't think he's going to allow it to get to 2 base all-ins, and I think he's going to do quite a few all-ins before that happens, or just kind of make an overwhelming amount of units and hope it's a 2 base all-in, because I think that's kind of how he is. I think he's a risk taker, but a risk taker not like gambling, but kind of playing the meta into his favor. So I do think he's going to win 3-0 or 3-1, and then we're going to have, this is going to be in 1 week on 15th. we should do another. We're probably going to do another podcast till then. But I do think that the finals of GSL will be Classic versus Dark. And honestly, I can't predict the finals because I think that I would have to see Dark Hero how it plays out. Because if Hero does, let's assume that Dark doesn't all in, and Hero all ins every game. If Dark slaps it down, right, and wins, and then wins parting, slaps down his all-ins, then what is Classic going to do? Because he did all the all-ins against Sue, so he's going to have to mix it up. So it's kind of hard to call, what if. But that's assuming that, all the predictions that I made are correct so far, which we'll see. There's a lot of PvPs, a lot of cheeses, so it can go either way. Anyway, next topic. Yeah, Dark is cheeky. I think Dark will win. You're calling out Hero for a show match? I don't know, man. So, yeah, the thing is, if Classic and Dark play, like I'm reading the chat, if Classic and Dark play, I think Classic will play differently. He's not going to use the same builds. He will mix in the same build, and maybe do a cannon rush, but he's not going to be like, okay, I'm going to do Immortal All in every game and hope it works. I think he's gonna mix it up because he's going to know that Dark is going to also mix it up. So, again, we'll see. I just think Dark is really strong and very, like, when he is aggressive with his games, he's very aggressive. I don't know if you guys remember when Dark played against Neeb. I don't know if it was BlizzCon. He beat him with 2 Baneling busts. And it was like, Neeb's probably haven't lost to a Baneling bust in a long time, but he just knows how to all in. So, yeah. Okay, next news. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but this is... Yikes. So, Blizzard has canceled a StarCraft first-person shooter, sources tell Kotaku, in order to focus on the next Diablo and Overwatch games. Yikes, look at that screenshot. I love when these websites use screenshots from, like, this is StarCraft from probably 1940s or something like that. Like, look at the supply depots. Like, I don't remember this being in beta. So this is like alpha, probably, StarCraft screenshot. Look at the battlecruisers. They have like that multiple attack they had in like that trailer video. Lazy. So I actually forgot about this, but StarCraft was actually supposed to get their FPS long time ago. Like long time ago. I can't remember exactly the date, but there was supposed to be a StarCraft first-person shooter already, and it got canceled. And now it got canceled again. The same thing got canceled again. Yeah, it was supposed to be called StarCraft Ghost. And that's just funny. Oh, that was third person? Okay. Okay, well this one is first person. So, this is an oof. And why is it an oof? Well, I'm going to talk about this. So, let's read through this together. Let me see if dark mode works here. Please. Oh, great. There we go. Production, baby. Blizzard has canceled a StarCraft first-person shooter that had been in development for the past 2 years. According to 3 people who are familiar with goings-on at the studio, the main reason Blizzard told staff was to put more resources into Diablo and Overwatch franchises. I mean, how many resources do you need into mobile? And I know, this is not for mobile Diablo, but hey, don't you guys have phones? Come on, I have to bring it up. The project, which was codenamed Eris, was described to me as like Battlefield in the StarCraft universe by one of those people, all of whom spoke anonymously because they were not authorized to talk about the project. So they were probably drunk. The team had built prototypes in which the player as a Terran Marine could gun down Zerg aliens, and there were plans to experiment with playable Zerg as well. Although one person who saw builds of the game last year, so there were builds, like this was going on. This wasn't like they were thinking about it. This was very developed, right? Told me that it seemed like development progress was slow, and second said it came as a massive shock when Blizzard canceled it a couple of weeks ago, which is, I'm assuming, because they probably did quite a bit into development, and then they're like, developers or people working on it probably thought it's a good project, because if it was a massive shock, I'm guessing it was because of those two things. It was kind of well into development, and two, people probably thought it was good that they were working on it. And making a Battlefield-like game, it's not something like Counter-Strike where you have a map that's small and you can create it easily. But, battlefields are gigantic, right? And also all the different characters and rifles, or however it was supposed to work. When Blizzard canceled a couple weeks ago, a third person said it was looking quite good. When asked for comment, Blizzard sent over a lengthy and non-specific statement, which you can read in full at the bottom of this post. We always make decisions about these things regardless of the ultimate outcome or how things might be interpreted. Based on our values, what we believe makes sense for Blizzard, money. And what we hope our players will enjoy the most, the company said. Nobody was laid off as a result of the cancellation, and according to staff, Blizzard told the team that Eris was getting axed alongside a second unannounced mobile project, so that the company could move many of them to the upcoming Diablo 4 and Overwatch 2, both of which are expected to be Blizzard's marquee announcement at this year's BlizzCon. Of course, as we saw last year, when it comes to Blizzard announcement, anything can change. True. So, I want to talk about this first of all a little bit before we kind of move on. So, again, I'll go back to the thing, like, this was very developed. This wasn't, something that was just started or an idea. This was developed because there were builds, they were playable, and they were testing them, right? And if developers are saying that it looked quite good, they probably made a lot of progress on it. So, now, I played FPS in the past. I've tackled into battle royale games. I've played Counter-Strike. I've played Overwatch. Not something that I'm gonna like obsess over and play it constantly, like quit StarCraft or quit whatever game I'm playing for fun. But I've played them. This game sounds so exciting to me that I would put in the effort and I would put in the time. So, this is where we left off. Don't worry, oh yeah, I should have been scrolling down more. Yeah, sorry about that. So anyway, this was something that I'm guessing was, you could be a Marine, you could be a medic, you could be a firebat, you could be a marauder, you could be a reaper, you can be a ghost. I'm assuming that this is how it worked. I don't have any facts on this. And then maybe you had instead of different rifles, you had different upgrades on your armor, which is what makes sense for StarCraft. Like, it doesn't make sense that you're all Marines and then you have a sniper or automatic rifle. Like, that's stupid, right? So it was probably like you could pick between stim and combat shields, or like a blink ability, or like a shield or cloaking ability, something like that. It was probably something along those lines. Now, if it was a Battlefield-like game, I'm assuming that there were vehicles like Hellions, vehicles like Vultures, like siege tanks. I mean, can you imagine how exciting that would be? Again, we're not FPS people, but imagine if you could enter a Hellion and there's just like a bunch of Zerglings and you're just roasting them. So instead of having like a tank in Battlefield, you're just in this gigantic Hellion or siege tank blasting them. I think that'd be so freaking fun. Like, that would be a new approach to that genre, right? You could even make it a battle royale off of it. That's the best part. Battle royale games are in. You can make a battle royale off of it. You can make Terran Zerg Protoss. You pick your race. You pick your whatever, Zergling, Hydra, Roach. You drop down, and as a Zerg, you gotta pick up, you know, that poop to eat and upgrade your, like, pick up DNA from the enemies. As a Terran, you gotta find ammo. Like, that's something that could potentially become the biggest game, right? Because battle royales are popular, whether people like it or not, they're popular. And this is something that I feel like would do really, really well among the kids. So, and they mentioned that there was, where was it? About the Zerg thing. And there were plans to experiment with playable Zerg. So this could be like, you know, you're playing one side Terran, one side Zerg. And maybe there's like 30 Terran players on one side and like 100 Zerg players on the other side, because Zerg is melee and supposed to be weaker. So there could have been so many ways they could have gone with this. But, I mean, they canceled it. Now, why do I think they canceled it? Again, I have no insight on this. You know, I don't have any secret info. But I don't think this is canceled necessarily forever. I think maybe they got some ideas for Overwatch based off of this, because they said they're making Overwatch 2. Maybe they felt that creating StarCraft FPS is not going to be as popular as Overwatch 2. I don't know, but honestly, as a fan, and as a viewer, as a Blizzard fan, I would, and again, this is like biased because I play StarCraft, but I would much rather want to try and play StarCraft FPS with that kind of new battlefield like mode where you have Zerg and Terran and not just same guns everywhere, instead of Overwatch 2. Like, if Overwatch 2 comes out, I'm not going to play it. I don't care for Overwatch. But because I've seen it already. Unless they make something completely new, but it's probably just going to be another Overwatch, right? With maybe updated graphics. Maybe they're going to add a couple of playable different things, maybe Battle Royale, but honestly, are people really going to be that excited for Overwatch 2 unless you're an Overwatch player already? I don't know. Like, in Overwatch, I mean, I've heard this for a while, but Overwatch's not doing great. It's supposed to be doing way better than it is from all the investments and stuff. And I know that Blizzard's poured a lot of money into Overwatch, into promoting it, and I personally don't think it's reaching the numbers that they thought it would. They wanted it to make it like gigantic, but it's just not. And I heard a lot of people complain about Overwatch, the balance, the meta, and yada yada. So I don't know. I think to Overwatch players, Overwatch 2 is very exciting, and it might be like an escape from Overwatch if they don't like it. But overall, if you look at the grand picture, the big picture, I think that almost anyone playing any Blizzard game is going to try StarCraft II FPS, because it's a new approach to that genre. And whether you like StarCraft or StarCraft II RTS, whether you like to play it, most of the people know it, and most of the people watched it, and at some point probably played it. And this is something that I feel like would bring in a lot of viewers from other games, like Battle Royale players, FPS players, Counter-Strike players, Overwatch players. Well, that's Blizzard game. And I do feel it's a little bit of a missed opportunity. Again, this is just my opinion. I don't know, guys, if you agree with that. But as a fan, and as a viewer, and as a potential streamer and player, StarCraft FPS would have been much more exciting for me. Now, another thing to mention, Overwatch came out recently, so why is Overwatch 2 already coming out? Again, unless they're I mean, I don't think they would name Overwatch mobile game Overwatch 2, because Overwatch 2 is kind of, implying that it's on PC and it is a second version, but I feel it's a too fast of a release. So I don't know, unless they completely change it the way it's played, maybe. But then a lot of things go into that. If it's different than the Overwatch, then you're splitting the community in two, right? It's like if Overwatch 1 is different from Overwatch 2, then suddenly the people are going to be split, and you don't necessarily want that for your games. I don't know. That's why I'm feeling it's just a bonus, like an expansion to the Overwatch. And I don't know if there's necessarily a need for it. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe they changed the way it's played. We have to wait and see. And again, we're going to know more at BlizzCon. Now, Diablo 4. Someone mentioned previously, don't forget about Diablo 4. Yeah, Diablo 4. So, Don't You Guys Have Phone meme has been very much alive for the past, well, since ever there was BlizzCon. Now, this part is what kind of makes me think that the reason why they pulled the developers from the Heirs thing is not because I'm gonna just call it StarCraft FPS. Not because StarCraft FPS was necessarily bad, but because they're not finishing Diablo 4 in time. I think that they thought it will be ready for this BlizzCon to have a beta or the development would be done. But I think there were issues with finishing Diablo 4, and that's why they're pulling in people to try and finish it in time. And I think that the reason, because there's Diablo 4 in these two, I think they're doing Overwatch 2 because of how much they've invested into Overwatch, and it's declining, so they don't want it to fail. So they're going to try to release Overwatch 2 to kind of bring in the hype and maybe fix some of the things that people are complaining about. I think that's the real reason. And I don't think there's necessarily a full-on cancel of StarCraft FPS. I think that once they do these two projects, they might be going to the StarCraft FPS project once again, you know, starting whenever these two are done. That's just my assumption. Now, we know, and they've said it before, that there've been interviews with the developers, and they've said that they've pulled a lot of the developers to mobile gaming. But they also said that one of the mobile gaming projects has been canceled. Now, what can this mobile project be? It's not Hearthstone, because Hearthstone already has a mobile version. It's not Diablo, because it's coming out. So it's not Heroes of the Storm, let's be honest. I mean, they gave up on the original game. It'd be a stupid decision to make a Heroes of the Storm mobile game. So maybe new franchise? I don't think so. I think Blizzard or Activision, since a lot of people are blaming Activision for the state of Blizzard, I think they want money, right? They want money. And I think that releasing a new franchise on mobile, you're just gonna get spit in the face. You're not gonna get away with that, especially after Diablo Mobile. So I think it was either StarCraft RTS on mobile, like Command and Conquer, released, or it was going to be some kind of Warcraft 3 arcade or StarCraft 2 arcade. So potential. Command and Conquer is kind of StarCraft 2 arcade game on phone, or Warcraft 3 arcade game on phone. And the last one that could be possible is World of Warcraft pet battles on your phone. Or World of Warcraft card game on your phone, because World of Warcraft card game exists in real life. So, and I feel like all of those can be very profitable for money, because in Command and Conquer like game you would be buying coins to buy units. So there's a lot of microtransaction there. If it was arcade mobile game, like for Warcraft 3 or StarCraft 2, you would obviously be buying maps, skins for your units, or whatever it is. Or in World of Warcraft, you can spend money on pets, on skins, and yada yada. So I think it's one of those. The question is, which one is it? That, I don't know. Now, I think that out of those, probably the most sense would make World of Warcraft pet battles. If you guys are not familiar, in World of Warcraft, you can have pet battles. Your pets fight against one another like Pokemon. So I think that would be great for mobile. And I don't mean this with, you know, sarcasm. I'm not joking. I think that would actually be a great game, and that's something I would play. Even though BFA right now, WoW, is complete garbage. I mean, there's just nothing to do in BFA. So I think that would be really good. And also, I mean, can you imagine having your phone and being able to play arcade games from Warcraft 3, StarCraft 2, like even stuff like Bejeweled, but you can log in and play with your friends, or I don't know, like Nexus Wars, or those poker tower defenses, or just any tower defenses, because the content's already there. You just gotta make it for mobile. You don't even have to think of anything new. It's already there, and you could be selling the maps and skins. So I think the mobile project that's canceled is probably one of those things, one of those two, realistically looking. But yeah, so they're focusing on Diablo 4. They're probably trying to push it for BlizzCon to get either playable beta or to have more content. They're obviously, you know, not able to do it in time, which is why they're pulling these people. It's not like the project's so massive that they need it. They probably just want to do it for BlizzCon. Now, I've no idea what approach they're going with Diablo 4. I don't know if they are just going to release another moneymaker for Diablo 4 and get people hyped, or if they're trying to actually invest a lot of money and development into making a good game. Like, I don't know if they're trying to maybe try something new in Diablo franchise, like change a couple of things. That's something we'll have to see. I'm disappointed with the Overwatch 2 thing. I know Diablo 4 is something that's really wanted by a lot of people, especially after Diablo 3 is not something that many people enjoyed, especially after Diablo Mobile. But Overwatch 2, I mean, how many people in the... Okay, how many people in the chat are excited for Overwatch 2? Is there anyone excited? Whether it's a new game or just an expansion. Like, no one cares, right? And that's the thing. When you're making something like this, a new expansion or a new game, from business point of view, in my head, it makes more sense to make the StarCraft one, because more people will play it. Whether it's better than Overwatch or not doesn't matter, but more people will buy it because it's a new thing. Overwatch 2 is not a new thing. And yeah, a lot of people are saying, everyone's saying no one cares. You're asking the wrong audience, but see, that's exactly my point. That's exactly my point. I do agree. This is the wrong audience to ask, right? But if you went to WoW audience, right? Let's say World of Warcraft audience. So you have StarCraft, you have World of Warcraft, and you have Overwatch. If you asked World of Warcraft audience, hey, what would you rather play if a new game comes out? Would you rather play Overwatch 2 that they already don't like because they're not playing it? Or would you like to try a StarCraft Battlefield-based first-person shooter with Zergs and Terrans and siege tanks and stuff? What do you think they're gonna say? What do you think Battle Royale gamers are gonna say? Do you want to try a huge Battlefield-alike game that maybe has Battle Royale version, or do you want to play Overwatch 2? So many people are not gonna play Overwatch 2 because it's Overwatch. They've already seen it. They've already tried it. But people will be more inclined to try a new game under a household name. Again, it doesn't matter if you watch StarCraft. StarCraft FPS is something new, and many people would be very interested to play it. So, yeah. I don't know. Obviously, people from Overwatch would prefer Overwatch 2, but even that's a question mark considering how not satisfied with the game they were. But overall, to stop kind of going around this topic, I'm disappointed. I would have loved to play StarCraft FPS. I think it would have been a lot of fun. I think they could have went with it in like co-op mode, multiplayer mode, single player mode, battle royale mode. I don't know. Maybe it's good. I mean, I'm just spitballing. This is probably not it, but maybe it's good and they don't want to do it at this BlizzCon because they're probably expecting lower attendance at this BlizzCon after the Clown Fiesta on the last one. Maybe they want to save it for 2020. Who knows? I guess time will tell. But the good thing is the good news is that they did work on it and they were playable builds. So that's kind of like hopeful for the future. So we'll see. And they worked on it for 2 years. Let's see. Okay, there we go. Both of those games will be key parts of Blizzard's strategies in the years to come. We reported extensively on Diablo 4, codename Fenris, late last year, and what we've heard about Overwatch 2, or whatever it winds up being called, is that it'll have a large PvE element. A couple of Blizzard people have compared it to Left 4 Dead. Is that like zombie thing? Are those games popular? Okay, so they are taking a different approach to it. So there's going to be Overwatch, which is multiplayer, I guess. And then this is probably going to be very PvE oriented, like co-op. I mean, now I'm even I mean, I wasn't excited about this, but now I'm even less excited about this. Just like, if this is gonna be a PvE killing masses of like army alike thing, I'm not interested in it at all. Again, this is me, not from FPS community, but I'm not sure how many people really get excited for that PvE element in a game. Because I feel like there were quite a few games recently that came out that were very PvE oriented with like raiding and like shooters and stuff, but they do really well and then it just like it kind of, yeah. Anyway, Air's first entered development in 2017 as an experiment to see what the team could do with StarCraft on the Overwatch engine. Oh. An engine is a suite of tools and reusable code that developers use to make games. They did the same with Heroes of the Storm and StarCraft II. If you guys don't know, Heroes of the Storm is a big reason why we got StarCraft II Battle.net and platform updated, is because it's using the same one as Heroes of the Storm. And I guess that's what they were doing with this, except for actual codes for games or for playing. The developers used to make games, and Blizzard has been hoping to move as many games as possible in the same technology in order to make their infamously slow game productions more efficient. That plan revolves around the new shared engine that's being adopted by multiple Blizzard projects. Heading up Airs was the veteran Blizzard director Dustin Browder, who formerly led Heroes of the Storm and StarCraft II. And it was planned to be the next game in the StarCraft universe. Of course, this isn't the first time Blizzard has canceled a StarCraft shooter. The infamous StarCraft Ghost, a third-person shooter stealth game that would star the Terran Ghost Nova, went through several developer changes and public delays after its 2002 announcement before it was finally axed in 2006. So now another thing to have in mind is by them doing a StarCraft shooter, if they went on to do it, it also means that there's less chance for StarCraft 3, if that makes sense. Because, I mean, look at it from a business point of view. It doesn't make a lot of sense to release first-person shooter, let's say 2020, and then 2021 or 2 or even 3 release StarCraft 3. You kind of want to space it out, especially if they're different genre games but under the same name. So you can kind of see, and I don't mind this. You can kind of see they're going in a different direction with StarCraft and trying to use StarCraft's lore and legacy into another direction. Now let's have a real talk. StarCraft II MMO. Blizzard, please give us a WoW-like game in StarCraft II. That's all I'm asking. That's all I'm asking. Or it can be like a first-person shooter, but like an MMO. No. Give me that. That'd be great. Come on. Not sure about that one? You don't think it'd be cool? You can have like different classes, like Templar, Stalker, Zealot. MMOs are dying. I mean, what MMOs are there right now, though? You know? Like, what gigantic companies are making MMOs? Exactly, yeah, exactly. No good companies are making MMOs. Or no big companies, not necessarily good, because I know there's going to be someone that's triggered. Okay, so, I mean, MMOs are like RTS, like they're not doing too well, but this is why they're not doing too well. MMOs are suffering the same issue like RTS games. They're all the same. They're all the same. So let me explain on this, or go on about this. So this is my opinion about why RTS games are not popular. They are all the same. You have a base, you spawn with workers, you mine minerals, you mine gold, you mine wood, you mine meat, whatever you're mining. Then you have the second resource, which is for higher tech. Maybe you have another resource, and you make an army, and you have a supply, and you have races or nations or whatever, and you fight your opponent. That's it. All the RTS games are the same. They haven't changed for like 30 years. And that is the problem, right? Like, that is the issue. Same with MMOs. You spawn, you're a little potato, you're wearing like a crap shirt, like it's all ripped, right? It's all like just torn, and you look like you came out of a trash bag, and you're wielding like this. You're wielding this, and you're throwing at the opponents. But then after a couple of levels, you get a little pocket knife, and then you get a knife, and then you get a sword, and then you get a sword with flames. They're all the same. And the reason why so many MMOs failed is because they're all competing with WoW. And WoW is the best, was and is the best MMO. I mean, it's doing terrible now, but this is the same reason why I think the MMO genre is failing, because they're not innovating. Now, WoW Classic is coming out, and I think WoW Classic is going to do really, really well. I think it's going to bring a lot of people back, and I think it's going to do really, really well. And I also think that a lot of MMOs, just like all the RTSs are hard mechanically, a lot of MMOs are becoming easier and easier, and everything is handed to you, which is why BFA sucks. But WoW Classic was an MMO that you had to work for your stuff. And this is what a lot of original gamers miss. People miss investing time into the game and then feeling like they deserved something or they did something. Now, let's compare this to battle royales. Battle royales are shooters. Shooters before were something like Counter-Strike. And Counter-Strike at one point was doing really bad. Now, they fixed a lot of things, and Counter-Strike is a household name at this point. I don't think Counter-Strike is ever going to be bad, but a lot of the shooters at one point were the same, and their popularity went down a lot. I mean, let's be honest, it went down a lot. Before CSGO, it was kind of a little bit dark for shooters. There weren't many around. RTSs were dominating. StarCraft II, Warcraft III, MMOs were doing really well. And now shooters are back. Why? Because they innovated. It's not necessarily a Counter-Strike shooter, it's a battle royale. And that's the thing, they innovated, it's still a shooter, it's a different shooter, but it's a shooter. And then they added a whole bunch of things on top of it, whether it's building from Fortnite or just a survival 100 people dropping. They innovated, and that's what RTS genre and that's what MMO genre needs. You can't, like, if you're, this is a lot of indie companies are making RTS games, and this is something they all do, right? They have an idea, they have a story, and then what do? Do they do something different? Do they try to mix it in? Do they try to take a risk? No. They do exactly the same thing like StarCraft II or like Age of Empires. So you're an indie company, but then you're having your own spin-off of the game, but it's exactly the same mechanically like the giants, like Warcraft 3, StarCraft 2, Age of Empires. And obviously you're not going to do well. You didn't do anything new, right? And it's the same with MMOs. Whatever MMO you make, there's always WoW. There's always the big MMOs that you're competing with, and obviously you're not going to do well. Now, one of the games I always like to use for an example of this is They Are Billions. I think They Are Billions is a strategy that innovated, and They Are Billions did really, really well when it came out. And a lot of people still play it because it had a different take. It's not necessarily a one-on-one, but it is different. It's a strategy game, but it's different. And that's why they did well. So I don't think there's necessarily no need or desire for RTSs. There's a need for RTS games that are different. And I'm not gonna go too in depth into this, but I always thought it would be cool if a big company took a game, made it into like a mix of RTS and MOBA, or RTS and shooter, where one guy is controlling the battlefield in the small units like an RTS game, and then you have 3 to 5 players that are micromanaging either like a shooter game or a MOBA game. Now, I know there's some games that already exist, but take this and make it off of StarCraft or make it off of Warcraft or some, known name, and I think it has much better chance to succeed. And again, it's different, and people will maybe like it. Maybe it's gonna flop. But I think the companies need to innovate a little bit more and not just copy-paste the already existing games with worse graphics, less support, and less hype. Anyway, here's full Blizzard statement. We don't generally comment on announced projects, but we will say the following. We always have people working on different ideas behind the scenes, including on multiple projects right now, but the reason we tend not to discuss them publicly is because anything can happen over the course of development, as has been the case at Blizzard numerous times in the past. But there's always the possibility that we'll make the decision to not move forward with a given project. Announcing something before we feel it's ready stands the risk of creating a lot of frustration and disappointment, both for our players and us, not to mention distraction and added pressure for our development teams. I mean, it makes sense, right? You can't really announce something if you're not 100% sure you're going to go through with it, or yeah. We pour our hearts and souls into this work, and as players ourselves, we know how exciting it can be to see and know with certainty that a new project is coming. Oh my god. Knowing the changes or disappointments that can happen doesn't make it any less painful when you have to shelve a project or when an announcement doesn't go as planned. We always make decisions about these things regardless of the ultimate outcome of how things might be interpreted based on our values, what we believe makes sense for Blizzard. My chat is bugged out. I have to refresh my chat. And what we hope our players will enjoy the most. That where it goes into these projects, whether they ship or not, is extraditionally valuable. It often leads to great things and helps foster a culture of experimentation here. With all that being said, we're very much looking forward to revealing other things we're working on when the time is right. Are you guys here? Is the chat bugged? Is my stream dead? What's going on? My Streamlabs is a little bugged. Hello, hello. Test, test. Let me see. So, all in all, yeah, my chat is dead. Let me see. I'll try to fix it. So, all in all, I mean, it sucks. But, yeah, these were just my ideas of why that might have happened. But obviously, they know better. Maybe they have their own reasons. Maybe it's because Diablo and Overwatch 2 are not ready, so they're trying to pull as many people to try to make it work. Maybe it's because it's, you know, they would get more money with these two games rather than StarCraft FPS. No idea. Yeah, my chat is deaded. Maybe Twitch is dead. Maybe that's also possible. Yeah, I don't know if you guys can hear me. Can you guys message me in game if you can still hear me or no? I think Twitch has died. Or is dying at least. Okay, you guys can hear me. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. So yeah, I can't read the chat. It is completely bugged, but people have told me on Discord that you guys can hear me, so that's good. Yeah, it's not your issue. It's Twitch chat is, yeah. But stream is working fine. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's as far as that goes. Disappointed, but hey, what are you gonna do? Sometimes that's how it works. And they've been working for it for the past 2 years, so we had no idea. Which is pretty cool. Okay, so let's continue. It's so weird being without chat. It's like I feel like I'm talking to myself now. Now, the last topic that I'm gonna talk about today is, again, another viewer, your suggestion on my Discord channel, where you can leave your suggestions for the next podcast that I'll be discussing, is how to keep playing the game without getting bored of it, and how to get better by having fun. Well, the first part of that is very simple. I always say this because this is like StarCraft people are very hardcore. Like, even sometimes when they don't like StarCraft, they will keep playing it because they want to get better, they want to get higher rank. But a lot of gamers these days are just babies. They're like, oh my god, this guy killed me, quit. Or this gun is too hard to use, I quit, you know? So a lot of people these days, like these baby gamers, are like that. But StarCraft people, again, they're hardcore, and sometimes even when they lose, they're gonna keep playing, even though they're tilted and annoyed because they want to improve, they want to win. But my answer is, if your sole like if you set a goal to get Grandmaster in StarCraft, well, then you just gotta play, right? Sometimes you don't have fun, and if you want to improve, you gotta collect yourself, you gotta get that mindset going, and you gotta kind of go through it. But if you're a casual gamer, right, like I'm talking, you know, you play 1-2 games a day, maybe you play after work, maybe just before bed you do a game or two, or maybe you don't even play 1-2 games a day, maybe you play, you know, 5 games a day, maybe you play 20 games a day, but you're just kind of into this routine that you're not really enjoying. My advice for anyone, and not just StarCraft or any other game, if you don't enjoy the game but you're playing it very casually, then try something else, you know? Just try something else. Whether that's co-op, whether that's team games in StarCraft II, whether that's 44's Archon mode, try something new. And if once you go back to 1-on-1s, if you're still not having fun, well, maybe that StarCraft II is not for you. You know, try a different game. Maybe you'll get the itch to play StarCraft II again. Maybe you won't. But at the end of the day, again, if you're not try-harding to be a pro gamer, or your goal is Master 1 and you're set on it, at the end of the day, games are there to be fun, right? They're not supposed to be a chore that you hate, but you still want to do it just cause. Or you just cause you want to support StarCraft II. You can still support StarCraft II by watching your favorite streamers and YouTubers, or you can watch, you know, your tournaments, your WCSs, your GSLs, and you can still enjoy the game that way, and you don't necessarily need to play the game. And that's something that I feel like is very much StarCraft II and StarCraft Brood War alike. I mean, I have so many viewers and people on my YouTube channel and on my Twitch that actually don't play StarCraft. They don't like playing it. They find it too stressful. Maybe they don't find it fun, but they love watching it. So, you know, if you're gaming and you have a limited amount of time in the day and you have more options for games, if you don't enjoy StarCraft, whether it's boring or too hardcore, or you feel like you're never going to improve in it, just play something else. That's pretty much it. Now, people also ask me, how do you not get bored of it? Well, it's different for me because it is my job. So, you know, it's the same question back at you. Like if you're in school or university or work, it's like, how do you not get bored? Well, it doesn't matter. You gotta do it, right? So it's same for me. Like, I've been loving StarCraft II recently. I've been loving streaming. I've been having a lot of fun, but sometimes you just don't want to do it. Like, even though it's like, yeah, I love this job and I love what I'm doing, but sometimes you just don't feel like playing. Sorry, I forgot the big camera. Sometimes I just don't feel like playing StarCraft II. I want to play something else. Like, I want to play an easier game. I want to play a more chill game, but I have to play StarCraft, and it's just how it is. And on those days when I do feel like I don't want to play StarCraft, but I have to, I, you know, maybe do some co-op, maybe warm myself up with some co-op in team games, maybe I'll do some arcades, maybe I'll go on a big like 40-minute rant at the start of the stream to kind of get myself into the streaming mood, maybe get out of that mood that I don't want to play. And that's pretty much it. At the end of the day, I gotta do it, baby. But I'm lucky that recently I've been really, really enjoying StarCraft II, so, you know, maybe I get one of those days like once a week, but it's still, you know, it's not too bad. It does affect my mood, like where I'm not as hyped or like saltier when I lose. But yeah. And now the second part of this question is how to get better by having fun. Now that's a good question, and this is something I've never considered before, but I think it's a great discussion to have. How to get better by having fun. I don't mean this like in a, you know, I'm the best narcissistic kind of way, in game, but I am the best person for this. How to have fun by playing the game, because my way of having fun while playing the game and still being in like top GM is just do different strategies. That's what makes it fun for me, and that's something you guys can try. Because in StarCraft, again, the community is very hardcore, so a lot of people are like, I gotta do Reaper Fast Expand, and I gotta do Hatch first, and I gotta do Gateway and Wall Off as Protoss. I mean, it's the best way to play, right? It's the most solid way, but it's not necessary. If, you know, playing Reaper Fast Expand if you're a Terran into Bio is the best way to play and the most optimal way to play, but you hate it, well, it's better to play Mech if you're having more fun, but maybe you're a little less successful with it. Because eventually, even though you're in the moment you're less successful with it, in the long run you're going to improve quicker and much more because you're having more fun with it. And this is something I can relate to because I've been playing Mech since Wings, guys. I've played Mech when no one played Mech seriously. I've played Mech in like top 3 GM when people in Masters couldn't get it to work. Why? Was Mech good? Hell no. It was terrible. It sucked. And even now, I mean, Mech is becoming more popular, but even now it sucks compared to Bio. But I found that for myself, and this is something that other people confirm when I coach them and stuff. People play better when you're having fun, whether it's StarCraft II in another game, because you're in a better mood. You're like, oh, I'm going to do this, and you know, I love using siege things. I love using Widowmine drops. Where playing Bio is sometimes too stressful. And you can apply this to any race you play in StarCraft II or any playstyle. If sometimes you're getting bored of StarCraft by doing the same thing over and over again, even though you're maybe winning, try a different playstyle. You know, play team games, play some off-race in team games, or just try off-race in one-on-ones. It will sometimes give you an idea of like what you can do with your main race. So if you play Terran and then you try Protoss, and then you see what Terrans are doing against your Protoss, you can be like, oh, that looks fun, I want to try that. So then you try that, maybe get a new idea, a new play style. And that's how I get a lot of my ideas. That's why I love playing random, because you can try so many different things, different all-ins, different play styles, and it's pretty cool. It's a lot of fun. I honestly think if I did play just one race after 9 years of StarCraft, I would be bored. But because I'm playing random, sometimes I don't feel like playing Terran, so I play Protoss all day. Sometimes I don't feel like Protoss, so I play Terran all day. You guys know I have those days, and just mix it up. That's my answer. But at the end of the day, if nothing works, try another game. Try another game. Now, sad things is Twitch chat has officially ripped. Twitch is having some serious issues, I guess, because it's still not working, even though stream is, working just fine. I really hope that the VOD doesn't get messed up, but we'll see. Anyway, it's been 2 hours plus. This was the first Going All In with Beastyqt podcast. Podcast number 1, my first one. Again, this is just the first one. I'm sure I'll find things to improve on. I'm sure you guys are going to suggest some things that I can do better. But I would love to hear your guys' opinion on all of this, on the topics, on the production that I've had, aka sharing my main screen with the topics prepared. Do you prefer this kind, or maybe you would like to see me have some guests on? The thing is, with guests on, this would change the kind of the rhythm and the whole flow, and it would be it would be quite a different thing. So do you prefer this, or do you prefer a podcast of like just 2-3 people talking around back and forth? Anything at all, I would love to hear your feedback. And of course, if you're watching this later on YouTube, let me know what you thought about all the topics we've discussed today. And that's it. Thank you guys for watching. If you're watching this on YouTube, much appreciated. If you did enjoy the podcast, leave a like and leave a comment to destroy that YouTube algorithm. But from me, that will be it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you with another video. Okay, guys on YouTube, on Twitch. Yeah, I'm not sure why Twitch's dead. Maybe some graphs or spreadsheets. Well, the thing about that is that takes like that's something that I do realistically. Well, I do want to do, but realistically, it takes so much time. That's my issue. Like, I would love this to be like a tip-top production, but leading and having the show on my own with all the topics and transitions and discussions and making the spreadsheets, I think it would take too much time, and I would have to take time off of stream, like take a day off of streaming, and I'm not sure if I want to do that. It's kind of like the pros and cons, right? The pros, yeah, it looks prettier, but cons are like I stream one day less. So it's like, is it worth it to stream one day less to have spreadsheets? That's the kind of, like, that's how I have to look at things whenever I do something these days, because I don't have a lot of time, because I do stream longer hours as well. But that's something I would love to like have. And in the future, maybe if I have someone like help with the podcast, with the topics and everything else, I would love to do that. But yeah, right now, it's the same thing with guests. Like, I want to have guests on the show, but at the same time, it's like, if I do, then I need an overlay for it. Then I need to switch scenes all the time. But at the same time, I can kind of ask them a question and then rest my voice, because right now my throat's hurting because I've been talking for 2.5 hours nonstop. So, you know, there's pros and cons, I think, for everything. And I think as I go and as we go into this, we can kind of improve and go on from this, and yeah. But overall, did you guys enjoy it? Or no? Because we did have a lot of people stay in and listen, so. Let me know what you think. Oh, Twitch chat is working again. Amazing. Here we go. Dude, I missed you, boys. I missed you. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's unfortunate that the chat ripped, but hey. It's like that's the thing, I couldn't have done anything about that. That was literally Twitch. Bummer didn't work for podcast number 1. Well, the chat only didn't work for the past like 20 minutes. So it's fine. It's not a big deal.
Oh, that's hot. That's hot.
I mean, I think having the chat kind of
2 whole years, what a wild ride it has been.
It kind of adds onto the experience if you have the chat, but it's not a huge deal, right? Edwards, thank you so much for 44 months. Welcome back. Says thank you for streaming. Thank you for watching. Dimsum with 16 months. With the thank you so much. And Avise with 2-year anniversary. Thank you so much, Avise. Much appreciated. Thank you. Thank you. With that juicy schmoosy Twitch Prime. Johnny and my boy hunked you over today, popping off. Thank you, boys. Thank you both. How many subs did we have today? 12 and like 2K Bitterinos. 16. Okay, guys. That will be it from me today. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Again, we're gonna try to do the podcasting once a week. Maybe we're gonna skip some week if there's like no news or no topics. But that's gonna be it for me. My throat's hurting. I want to thank you guys for watching. Maybe I'll include my whammon in the future. I don't know, so she can be like my guest and my co-host. We'll see. But that's it. Have a good one, everyone. Thank you for watching. What's tomorrow? Tomorrow is Saturday. Yeah, I'm gonna stream tomorrow, just as usual. No changes. Have a good one.